All right, guys, here we go. VOD review, Mistweaver. We got Shenny. Okay, so it looks like you have the same talents as me, right? It looks the exact same almost. Okay. So you said you went 2-4 in this, right? What's the R is this game? Or 1650. Okay, 1650 MMR. Got it. It's going to be super nitpicky, so I apologize in advance. But this is just what I have to do. You definitely want to always set up a statue like first thing when you get out of the gates. Not the biggest deal ever. You know, you're not 1600 because of how you place your statue in the opener, but still a big deal. So definitely want to normally just put up a statue. So let's see, put up a statue first thing. And you should put a port, whatever. You did it the opposite way. Then what we should do is we definitely want to get a soothing out. So we haven't pressed soothing, we haven't pressed renewing mist. Like I talked about a few days ago, there's always an opener. Like even healers have openers of like what spells you want to press. In this situation, you have a Demon Hunter, you have a Boomkin that's sitting in stealth. I don't know if they're gonna go you. I feel like they might try to start your DH and then go. They can either start your DH and go you, or sap you or sap your DH and start you. The Demon Hunter also hasn't gone Spectral Sight for some reason. I don't know why he hasn't used his sight to get the rogue out, but you know, we'll focus on you. Well, you want to start your statue immediately. Everyone has an opener. Start your statue because if you don't know already, your statue also gives you stacks of your life cocoon buff. So in this situation, we already are in a spot where we can start building our life cocoon buff with our soothing like right off the bat. So that's one of the reasons you want to have it up, on top of the fact that if they do open, you just have more healing out. Statue over port is a big deal in normally smaller maps where like as you're running to the pillar on your mount, you can just dismount with a statue and then put your port down. Because a lot of times if you try to run in and put your port down first on small maps, there's a chance that they can start the game already and you fall behind without having a statue down. I've seen it countless times where people will run into the pillar, put down a port, and then the game starts and they don't even have a statue out yet, which is a big deal. Let's see. Demon Hunter Spectral Sighting now. Great. We have Renewing Mist. So like I said, everyone has an opener. What you should do in this situation is probably Renewing Mist yourself or Renewing Mist your Boomkin or your DH. Renewing Mist somebody. You can Renewing Mist 2 people. You can just press 1 on yourself and then put Soothing on yourself so that you already have healing. So definitely put Soothing, put up Renewing, and then Soothing somebody to start the process of gaining stacks for your life cocoon. Okay. We double, we try to mount. Okay. Still don't have Soothing up, like I said. We're going for the end cap. Get feared. So this is unfortunate. I think he broke this instantly. So your Boomkin unfortunately trolled you here by breaking your end cap. But right off the bat, Mistweaver is a very defensive healer and a very PvE, like dampener oriented healer. Not to say that you going for CC there is bad. I think that's fine. But in this situation, they're opening up, they're starting the game, you get the rogue out, but we still don't have any healing output on the druid. So we get an end cap. You also kind of rolled too close, so that's unfortunate. So it broke and he instantly feared you since you were right next to him. Get feared. Like I said, still don't have a soothing out, so you're missing a decent amount of healing on the Boomkin from the start, on top of not having extra stacks from your cocoon. Because if you didn't notice, the talent to the far left that gives you stacks of cocoon that makes it stronger with your soothing, like I said, that works on your statue soothing as well, not just your actual soothing. So you can build stacks by just AFKing at the start with having your statue working. All right. A lot of things I don't know first couple days of Monk. Yeah, of course. It's going to take time, man. It's going to take time. So hopefully I can get you to the point you should be at faster, you know? Hopefully. That's the hope, at least. We're rooted. Okay. In solo shuffle, especially since the game is so fast-paced, let's see what we do here. We get out and we don't press our Thunder Focus T. So right here, they open on the Druid. We don't really have any hots out. We get out of the fear. He's already, you know, a little less than half HP. Get out of fear. We start healing him. He's about half health. His skin's fading. And I think he presses Death Mark late here. So what you can do, since you don't want to fall behind in healing, is you can Thunder Focus T, so you're number 4. You can Mana T to save mana, even though it is shuffle and you're against a Disc Priest. It's pretty rare that you'd first against Disc. you know, since the games are so fast and Disc Priest has, you know, some of the worst mana regen currently. What you can do, since it's all about kind of staying stable and not having your team freak out as well, is you can Mana Tea, Thunder Focus Tea, you get an Enveloping out, this guy's probably full HP. So we're PvE healing, we top him. Hell yeah to that. Still dying to Deathmark. Right now we're spamming Vivify as well. A huge thing about Monk is just keeping your Enveloping up. So right now we're in this position where our Enveloping fades, and if you notice, you're still spamming Vivify for a couple of globals, but it's not really doing too much. And that's because Enveloping gives you, what, 30 to 40% bonus healing on top of the fact that that hot itself is really strong. On top of giving you extra healing from your Soothing Mist talent on the bottom right of your tree. Don't really remember the name of it, but you get 50% more healing from your Renewing and your Enveloping Mist when you're channeling Soothing Mist on them. So we're already missing out on that as well, which is a huge deal. Let's see what happens. We get 2 Vivify globals there, then we Cocoon. He kind of wastes Deathmark, and we're in a position where we can actually get away with not using any CDs here, which is crazy. Like, if you're ever in a spot where you can save CDs against Deathmark, that is a huge, huge benefit to you. So, right here, you know, we let our Enveloping fall. We still can, like I said, we can still use our Thunder Focus Tea and our Mana Tea, conserve mana, get more burst healing as well from the Thunder Focus Tea Enveloping combo. But instead we let it fall, we get a couple Vivifies, and it's obviously hard to heal. Then we decide to just press Cocoon here. It's not the worst thing because you are trading a cooldown for Deathmark, which is big, but it's one of those situations where, you know, depending on what happens later in the game, you might be in a position where you don't have Cocoon because you somewhat wasted it at the start, right? See what happens here. The rogue starts running towards you. If you're going to be on this side of the map as well, another thing about Monk that, you know, you can see with when I played my Monk the last week, getting into the rhythm of always kind of moving your ports around, and this is for Warlock players as well, where if you're going to cross the map, your port is all the way on the other pillar. So right now, if they decide to attack you, you'd be in a pretty rough position because you don't have a port anywhere here. So you would have to roll back into them, towards the priest, and then port back instead of just replacing your ports. So port position's huge. Okay, get out of the bomb. Renewing this guy. Did he purge our Renewing? Purge our Renewing. Good ROP on the bomb as well. We like that. I also think you're in a spot here too where you can probably roll in on the Cocoon and get a sweep, but all of that is only going to be good if you have a port down. So since we don't have a port down, it's kind of rough to do that. But we like the ROP anyways. Get a Renewing. Okay, heal him. Heal the Boomy. What happens here? So even here, we're in a position where we just, like I said, don't have a port. He runs in, he blinds you. We trinket the blind. We roll in. Get feared incapped. So kind of a mistake here. Like I said, we should just press our port. Put a port down here. We're in a good spot, so if you do decide to push in, you can easily port back to a safe spot and not on their side of the game. But we trinket the blind. I think you're probably trying to leg sweep here. And if you don't know, leg sweep has a huge range now. Definitely a lot wider range. I think you probably could have gotten it here. I think you want to save for the double stun. Also, if you don't realize, they're already on DR. So what we're doing here is kind of a mistake too, where we're running in to send our CC, is what it looks like you're about to do. We're running in to send the CC when the priest is already on stun DR. The rogue is still on stun DR. So we run in to try to get some CC maybe. You also push in and you're in a spot where the druid is kind of lining you. So whether or not you were pushing in to get to the druid, or whether or not you were pushing in to try and CC the priest, positioning definitely got messed up here because you rolled on top of them. So watching back, it definitely looks like you're trying to just heal your druid. But what you do is you roll the wrong way, right? So you trinket the blind here. So I think you maybe were trying to get a hot up and then leg sweep them. Oh, so yeah, so you were trying to CC. Okay, so I was right making that assumption. Yeah, so you're trying to CC. Yeah, it looks like maybe you realized it late or something happened where you didn't get the stun. So now you're in a bad position here. But yeah, Okay, so I was right on that. Definitely in a weird position. You get half feared, you get gouged. What happens here? Did we get blown up? Okay, we get the revival. Obviously, the big thing about games like this is learning from your mistakes, right? So we already know that was a mistake. They're already on stun DR. You already are in a position where you have to get out of the blind. They don't have death mark. Realistically, this should be a good spot for you. The shaman has a lot of damage out, as we can see, but this should be a good position for you. But you're basically... You basically kind of threw away positioning here because you try to go in for the double stun when they're already on DR. And obviously that comes with more practice and more repetition of seeing that they're on DR, understanding what you have to do on monk. So like you said, you just started playing the monk, that's okay. But this has to do a lot with just more repetition, more playing the game, and also understanding when what was good or bad to do. So definitely a mistake here to roll in there. Our druid almost dies. We barely get the revival off, thank goodness. Almost dies here. Thankfully the rogue doesn't have MS on because... yeah, he just let his poisons fall too, so that was nice for him. He had no damage out, so the rogue didn't have any damage out. If this rogue already had his bleeds out before he went to blind you like that, you probably lost the game. You probably lost the game in the first minute, which is obviously something we don't want to happen. I think a lot of that stems from, obviously, we kind of wasted Cocoon, and we also, you know, made the weird play of trying to go in for CC when they're on DR, and our druid was still dying, so pretty risky there. We get the revival, we top him. We press Yulon. I'm guessing we get kicked here. Let's see if you aura. Oh, get away. Nice. We aura now, but we don't cast with it. So wasted aura. Didn't cast with it. Pretty rough to do. Do you have Omnibar anywhere or no? Because I don't see it currently. Do you have Omnibar anywhere for kicks and stuff? No, this thing they put on? Okay. Yeah, definitely do that, man. That'll help. Especially on a monk, dealing with interrupts is huge. Huge on monk. Huge on monk. More than any healers, so... definitely want to do that. Not be lazy for a second and turn that on for sure. Let's see. So we top our team. Prime. We like that. Definitely wasted our aura because we just didn't really cast with it. I think we got maybe half a second with our aura there. So half a second value there. Okay. Get our healing up. Nice. We also have Yulon out. We take that. What are we doing here? We still have our double stun. So right here, do we try to stun the healer? We run in, we incap the healer half. We try to get a song. So another mistake here, you always want to try, unless the incap is full DR. Maybe you didn't see it was DR'd here. Or maybe you don't know that in prison DRs with incap. But already here, you definitely just want to stun the guy. But we run in, we try to song, so we miss out on CC. We incap, we try to song. I'm surprised he hasn't feared, unless he just didn't have it or anything. Maybe he didn't have it yet. But we try to get the song. Then we run in late. Chase him down, get the stun. Great. Obviously, it would have been a lot better if we just got the stun instantly, because he got some healing out a little bit here. So, got a little bit of healing out, kept him stable before the stun, presses PS. Hitting the monk. Our healing fell off on the druid really hard. Like I said, a lot of monk is about just keeping up with the healing. So because we're doing these plays here, we don't have a renewing mist on the druid. We get it now, but we missed the song. We chase him down. We still don't have our statue healing the druid, which obviously is a lot of healing as well. There is a lot of sustained healing that you do get from the statue. So we don't have our statue right here on the druid still. It fell off. Chase the priest down. Okay. What do we do here? I think we hit the monk, or we hit the shaman here. We RSK the shaman. Our druid is like kiting really far too, so we RSK the shaman. We're running different directions for the druid. The druid runs really far from you. Okay. Healing him here. Still kind of scary. It's kidneyed. So something I've noticed, which like I said, or like you said, since you're new to monk, you haven't pressed your Mana Tea or your Thunder Focus once this game. And Thunder Focus not only is good for, you know, mana, but you can also use it for burst healing. So if you Thunder Focus with Enveloping, you get a huge burst heal. So right here in this situation, you definitely could have done that. I think if the Shaman actually tried to run up and interrupt you, they probably could have won the game here. I also think if this Priest was If you were a little bit higher rated and these people were, you know, pressing the interrupts, or he was trying to purge your enveloping, you'd possibly die here. Because you're in this spot right here, where you're kind of PvE healing him, and the shaman could easily, you know, go for a global and kick you. So, once again, still here. We eventually top him, not dealing with interrupts. The rogue runs over, sprint, kidneys. Okay. Cocoon in 10 seconds. What happens here? Get trinket from the priest. Still haven't pressed thunder focus. We're healing now. You're letting yourself sit low too. So another thing you can do on monk, and like I said, just to reiterate this, I don't want anyone, you know, watching this thinking that they're in the same spot, they feel bad, they made a mistake, whatever. It all takes time, it all takes repetition. You're in this position here where you're kind of letting yourself rot, so you can soothing expel him, or you can just expel harm as you're running away, or you can just use one of your healing elixirs. So you can use one stack of healing elixir as well to recover here. You don't ever want to let yourself sit low health. Okay. Got the soothing here. Got the renewing back up. Okay. We have in cap up. The priest is off DR. You always have to look for moments in the game where you can kind of go for CC. So right here, you can maybe go for an in cap on a spell. You're also in a spot where you have stun coming up in 15 seconds. So let's see what happens. We're healing him. We roll in. So similar situations before. We rolled in. We didn't get the in cap though for whatever reason. We rolled in, but we didn't actually get the in cap. And then maybe you decide to heal. You panicked last second and try to heal. But right here, he gets out of your range. He's half health. We press darkness too. So it looks like your demon hunter knows to press dark. We like that. But you never want to purposely put yourself in positions on monk unless you're getting CC, and even then it's risky sometimes depending on what's going on. You never want to put yourself in positions where you're rolling in to be in range of people, right? So if you stayed a little far back, if you stayed a little further back, like right here, if you just got in range, stayed back, healed him more, that would have been great. But because you push in, you have to overlap your cocoon and your darkness, which is rough. Definitely could have just stayed back, but now you're in a position where you're getting closer. Did this guy wind shear your... Did this guy wind shear your Yulon? I'm pretty sure he accidentally clicked your Yulon here. Let's see. Yeah, he definitely wind sheared Yulon. That's so tragic for him. So yeah, once again, you're in a position here where you're still dying. You're still losing health, or you're still not full HP. You're about 284. You're 284,000 health right now. 76% health. You haven't used an elixir. You haven't hotted yourself. Let's see. So in a position here where we waste cocoon. The shaman, I guess you do have Omnibar on because the shaman finally they say Yulon's useless. Yeah, Yulon ate the kick there. Insane. So you do have Omnibar on this tune. He just hasn't pressed kick the entire game. So we learned that as well. Just no kicks. Yeah, you have Omnibar. That's great. We like that. So right here, let's see what happens. We try to get the song. All right, I see. You're getting a little cheeky here. You're trying to get the song ROP. You missed the ROP. Unfortunate. But he dies anyways. Great. So what happens at the end here? Once again, we didn't really use any of our CC that much this game. I think we had one in cap that broke instantly. We got one stun, which forced PS, which was really good. I think he might have trinketed later, a little bit later there as well, because he got root beamed. But aside from that, we didn't really get any CC out. The biggest thing about Monk isn't the CC, it's just keeping your team alive. So thankfully we were able to live. But like I said, even with wins, I think there's a lot of things that, you know, there's always little things that people can do better. You know, you can use your mana team more because you're half mana right now. If this game lasted a little bit longer, maybe you'd be a little scared. But didn't mana tea the whole game. We didn't use healing elixirs when we were lower. We didn't thunder focus tea for burst healing. You know, in my opinion, we wasted cocoon twice. We used cocoon in the opener when we could have spam casted with our thunder focus tea and healed through it. We also used cocoon here, overlap with darkness when we tried to push in for CC on the priest, but didn't actually CC him. We kind of rolled in and then ran away. So we rolled in, put ourselves in a bad position, didn't get the CC, had to cocoon anyways, overtop the darkness. And we also had a weird mistake where we rolled in to try to CC, noticed they were on DR the last second, and then got half feared into a gouge after you trinketed the blind to start that setup. And then we had to get a revival there. That was really, really clutch because he hit like 70k health, pretty close to dying. But there's definitely a lot of things. Even on Mystic Touch, yeah, Mystic Touch is a huge thing. It's not the biggest deal for DH. It obviously helps a lot, but any damage is going to help, right? So Mystic Touch is a big deal. Let's see if you keep up Mystic Touch later on, because if you didn't know, you can also keep up Mystic Touch with Crackling Jade Lightning. And all you have to do to put up Mystic Touch on a Monk, for all the Monk players out there, is just press it and instantly cancel it. You don't have to get a tick of damage. You don't have to channel the whole thing. You press it and instantly cancel it, and Mystic is up. So not the biggest deal. I definitely don't suggest after this VOD review that you log on your Monk and start spamming Mystic Touch on each person, because you will probably lose more rating. It's something that you should focus on later on, and something that will be a lot easier with more games and more time. But not something you want to focus on right now that you have to do all the time. But definitely worth doing. There's just other things that are priority right now. You only use Essence Font if you're not worried about mana and you want more mastery for burst healing, but Essence Font is a very, very low priority spell if you're not playing Fistweaver. Very low priority. So yeah, a lot of things this game could have gone better. We still got the win, which is great. We didn't die without cooldowns, which is fucking fantastic. I love it. I don't like when people die without CDs. It sucks. I hate watching it. So amazing. You pressure Cocoon twice. I feel like you wasted both of them, kind of. Feel like you didn't really need to. But, you know, better safe than sorry. We got the revival off as well. We love that. Amazing. So one win. And you went 2-4 this lobby, right? So, okay. Let's see. We got the Sass Rogue now and the DH against Boomy Enhance. Let's see what we do now. Okay, so we port. Put a statue. We roll in. We renewing. We renewing again. Same thing. You definitely want to just put up your soothing. It should be one of the first things you do. So even in this position, you can like run in, put your statue, and then immediately soothing your DH, or renewing after you roll. You can just do it here too. But having that initial soothing from your statue just helps a lot. All the healing adds up. So let's see what happens here. He runs in behind the pillar. He didn't respond to your boy AK as well, which you can't see because of my camera, but I'm looking. AK whispered you and he said, why no answer? So just saying. It's messed up. Okay, put up renewing. Do we get Hex here? Pass the Hex in our face. That's pretty rough. Once again, biggest thing about Monk that you're going to learn since you are new to it, and you know, even myself when I played it this last week, it was the same thing where I eventually got into a really good groove of always moving my port when I repositioned. So you roll in, and then you run into this pillar. First thing you should do here is drop a port, because now you can't port anywhere. Now your port's on the other side of the map, so you can't port any CC. And what happens here? You run in, and we also get Hex for free. This is kind of a mistake. We definitely should be able to in-cap this, or Rapid, or if we had a port down, we would have been able to port here. But we get Hex for free. Ghost dying. What do we do? Please don't tell me we trinket. Okay, we sit. Good. Trust the DPS to press CDs. Evasion. If you're in this position right here against a Boomkin, you have to watch out for the root beam. You should just press your aura here. Let's see what happens. You get stunned. We'll take it. What happens here? We cocoon. Let's see what happens here. The Boomy decides to go for a super risky play and bash you instead of in the beam. Another thing too, like I've said before, Mistweaver, you're gonna get into this groove of understanding how to be max range at all times. So realistically, what you should do is press aura there, and what he has to do is he has to get in range with either a leap or he shifts, and then he can root beam you because he'll be too far for bash. But what happens is you're too close to him. You're too close in range here, so he leap bashes you. So definitely positioning issue here. I also think we're in a spot where we probably could have just pressed revival here instead of cocooning, but at the end of the day, I don't think it's the worst thing because cocoon is a shorter CD. So not the worst thing to do, but just an option here in the stun. You would have had to press a CD regardless, whether it was Whether it was Cocoon or whether it was Revival, you most likely had to press the CD here. See, because yeah, we cloak at what, 30%. You most likely had to press the CD here. The Boomkin also made the mistake of not root beaming, so getting kind of lucky here. Even though people on the other team are making mistakes, it's still important to try to do the best things that you should be doing. It all depends on the scenario, of course, but there are things that are kind of baseline in every situation that you should be doing, like being max range, you know, keeping up your statue heal, keeping up your renewing, trying to aura before a root beam, things like that, right? Things like that are very important. So even though they made a mistake here, what they should have done is they got in range to bat you, great. They should have root beamed you here. You would have been super screwed and probably had to trinket, or your rogue would have had to vanish, but let's see. I still don't like how we don't have a port. Still have to watch for that, but let's move on. We get the Cocoon, we roll away. What happens here? They're trying to chase us. Okay, Shaman's running at you. Gets the wind shear. Still hasn't root beamed. We press aura now. Oh, that's kind of a mistake. So a thing about Monk that's awkward is you can actually press aura while you're kicked. So I think you press it here, right? Yeah, so you press it a little bit before the lockout, but it's kind of a waste. You have like 1 second of wasting it. But you get your aura out, which is fine. Because if he does try to root beam you here, that is good to do. So not the worst thing. I'm not going to get onto you too much about that, but definitely something to look out for in the future against other things. Against the Boomkin, it's actually fine because he can root beam you before the lockout if he's trying to perfectly time it. But into most things, it's pretty risky to do. Let's see. The priest runs up and fears you. So as a monk, it should be really hard for the priest to fear you in a lot of situations. But the reason that you're in this position where you get feared is because, like I said, we didn't move our port. So what we can do to stop this guy is we can rop him away. So let's see, he gets blinded, he trinkets. What we can do here is we can incap him, or we can rop him away. So what do? We try to run away. Do we have a roll up too? No fruit. So we have a roll as well. We get some aura heals out. Right here, what we should do is just rop him, or is just incap him. Like right here, he's running towards you. You get a heal out, incap the priest. You already got your enveloping out. You're safe. The guy's getting healed. You incap the priest. Or you can roll away here too. Or you can rop him. You have 3 different options. He runs up. He fears you. We trinket the fear, which is also really scary because we still haven't root beamed. Not sure why Beast maybe here hasn't root beamed yet, but anytime he presses it in the next minute, which I feel like he will, unless he's going to let me down. Not that I want you to lose, but unless he's going to let me down here, definitely need to hit the root beam. Let's see. We get feared. We trinket. Are we doing swaps to the monk? We revival. Try to get a heal out. We top him. Okay. Go for the rop. Go for the song. Get root beamed on it. Okay. And then we die here. Oh my god, we banish. Vanish. He domes. Do we rop the dome? I want to go back here. Let's see. So this position, what we should have done is this in this position. Yes, it's a rogue on your team, so it is somewhat risky. But right here, we have really good positioning. He already feared. We kind of waste our revival a little bit, but it's, like I said, better safe than sorry. The revival's kind of fine here because it does give you a second of immunity to get a global out. Gives you like half a second. But once again, it's still risky because he can press root beam. He can just root beam you here. So right here, we get some heals in the monk. This guy's sitting bear form. What you should do here in this position is you run in and you double stun the DPS. So yes, even though it's kidney, you have 2 options, right? You have 2 options. You're kind of in a rough spot because you don't have aura, you don't have trinket, and you don't have revival to pre-revival the root beam as well. But right here, you have 2 options. You can either go in and try to CC the priest, or you can double stun the DPS. Especially because the shaman has no trinket. But what we do is we roll in, we incap the priest, and another mistake here, you try to go for the song. So instead of going for the sweep, like I said before, we incap him, and then we try to cast a song here. And the thing that's great, the thing that's beautiful about this scenario, if you did try to just focus on the sweep, is even if he does Rubeam you, we get the sweep. But let's see what happens. Okay. Did he root you late on this too? Okay, so slight fuck up on your part. We definitely had a chance to like roll out of this or something, because he didn't root you for like a second, but you know, that's just being nitpicky for the sake of being nitpicky. You can stun this guy. You still have the chance to stun him. So you run up and, you know, like I said, it's important that if you do want to incap and then song instead of sweeping, that is perfectly fine. Because if you incap and then you try to song and you're standing on top of them, but you get locked or something, you can still sweep them. So you still get the CC, but you go for the harder one to land first, right? So there's nothing wrong with that. But what happened is you're too far for him. So right here, you roll in and you stop moving right next to him. When if you just ran right on top of him, could you try to go for the ROP? I don't know if you just want to be fancy or not with that, or maybe you didn't think you had the time to get close enough. If you stood on top of him here, you could have got the stun. You probably could have gotten the stun here anyways, because like I said, leg sweep is a huge range. So even here, you probably still could have gotten the leg sweep off, and you might have won the game anyways, because the druid's at 30%. He still has death mark on him. The priest doesn't have trinket. You could possibly win the game here. But we get Rubeamed. He swaps. Okay. What do we do here? We get the vanish. Another thing, you know, same thing as the first round. We haven't pressed Thunder Focus T once. And Thunder Focus T, once again, to reiterate, it gives you a huge burst heal on your enveloping. So still here, right here, we would have had a huge burst heal from the enveloping, but we don't get that because we don't Thunder Focus T. Press his dome. I think it seems like you recover here. Let's see. Get some heals out. Great. He ran out of ROP. He ran out of dome, so you don't have to ROP him. Okay. Healing. Now we try to Tiger's Lust in for the CC. We Tiger's Lust in, but we don't get the CC? What do we do? Oh, you tried to stun. Oh, what the fuck? So the range on leg sweep is great, but it's not like that. Like the range on leg sweep is insane, but you don't have like Space Jam arms, like Space Jam Michael Jordan arms on leg sweep in terms of your legs. You don't have that. So you can't do the Mrs. Incredible and like leg sweep everybody. That's not a thing. So it's unfortunate here that you did that, because I think if you were a little bit more hesitant, you probably could have waited to get the in cap on the priest into the stun, because he's already on stun DR2. So another situation where we're trying to go for these leg sweeps when people are already on DR, whether it's a double or a single leg sweep, we're going for it when people are already on DR. So still don't have a port down. Gonna try to reiterate that as much as I can. Swapping your port to have better positioning is huge. Our port is still at the starting room on that first pillar. Let's see, we roll in. If you were a little bit more hesitant here, you probably could have gotten the in cap into the sweep, or into the song, better yet. You probably could have gotten the song, press Aura Mastery for it as well. But instead, we try to sweep, miss the sweep. Start healing. Okay. What happens here? Okay, so we're 21% dampening. We get an enveloping out, and we vivify, I think. Let's see, what do we do? Do we vivify again? Yep, we vivify again. So, in this position, Mistweavers have insane throughput. But a lot of it, especially if you're not worried about mana, you're still in this situation, like I said, where I mean, honestly, you might as well play Life Cycles. Life Cycles is still a good option. I think Mana Tea is very solid as well, just for having it for those moments of spamming enveloping. You do save a lot of mana. But Life Cycles is another good talent. Instead, you can play that for mana efficiency. But if you're going to try to heal your teammates, if you're trying to be super conservative, or it's the start of the game and not much damage is happening, people are pretty high health, then you can vivify. But there's no reason here in this position where dampening is kind of ramping up, you're all dying, where you don't press enveloping. So what you should do is right here, still the same situation. We have Thunder Focus Tea up. We can Thunder Focus Tea, enveloping the Demon Hunter. Boom, he's topped. Great. And then we can swap healing back to the Rogue. We're also in a spot, like I said the previous round, where we haven't pressed Healing Elixir, and we still need to hot. So we haven't pressed Healing Elixir, and we're kind of rotting down now, and we haven't hot ourselves either, and we haven't Expel Harm. So Expel Harm's another decent heal you can do just for yourself. I do use Mana Tea now and Thunder Focus. Yeah. Okay, yeah, good. That's huge. Huge deal. Thunder Focus is huge for burst healing. Or if you Thunder Focus for Vivify, it saves mana. And then obviously Mana Tea does what Mana Tea does. So you can use Mana Tea with Yulon, but I feel like it's kind of a waste unless you absolutely need to in your I feel like it's kind of an overlap because Yulon already reduces the mana of enveloping, right? Let's see. Should definitely enveloping here. We aura, enveloping the Rogue, get a Vivify, target the DH, and then yeah, the same situation. The same situation here where if we're trying to top up our team as best as we can, we just gotta hit the enveloping. You shouldn't be too worried about mana if you're against the Disprix. You are 40% mana right now, but you know, as you said, you are finally using Mana Tea and stuff now. So the best thing to do in this situation would just to be to spend your mana, press your enveloping. You get a lot of heals out. But kind of dying. Gets his demon proc. And the reason that you want to enveloping in a lot of situations like that, if you're not worried about mana, is because damage is so high in this expansion. So the idea of pre-healing is a lot better this time around than, you know, previous expansions, where even though he's in the spot where he does have his demon proc, he actually kind of let it last for a while. But even though he's in this position of pressing his demon proc, just pressing enveloping here and having them be safe, guaranteed, especially if they start to take random damage from Boomy AoE or something, is better than kind of like trying to min-max your healing when you don't really need to. When you're in more mana intense games, then it's fine to do that. But I don't see an issue here of getting into the habit of trying to pre-heal targets when you're not too worried about mana, especially when you're against a Disprix and you're half mana already. And the game's pretty close to ending. Let's see. Why did he run to you like that? I guess he was just kiting. Okay. So still haven't healed yourself, which is pretty rough. We're about 60% now. You're kind of dying when you have 2 stacks of elixir. Okay. What do we do here? Do we go for the incap finally? Incap the guy? Song? Great. So we keep ropping. So we keep trying to, even though you didn't get it in a couple of the times, you're still trying to like rop the guy into the song when you don't really need to do that. Because right here, you're already on top of him. You get the song anyways. You don't have to also rop him, you know? Like if you notice, you already get the song before the rop happens. Like you don't always need to rop them into the song if you're directly on top of them. So you're right next to him here. You don't really need to do that. Okay. We let our Renewing Mist fall as well for a while now, I think. So Renewing Mist falls. We're still kind of dying. Cocoon here. Kind of a preemptive Cocoon. They didn't have a... They have no kicks for you here. They have no Solar Beam. But don't think it's the worst thing to do. Kind of be safe. Especially because we don't have Revival to back up. Let's see what we do here. We Tiger's Lust, run to the pillar. Still don't have a new port now, which would be very helpful. We don't top ourselves either. We get heals on the DH. We Dispel. What did we Dispel? Oh, Dispel is slow. Okay. So Dispelling against Boomkin's good if they have their 3 dots out with either their Moonfire, Sunfire, Solar Flare. Whatever the 3 dots are, or just the usual, you know, Moonfire, Sunfire, and Mushroom. It shuts down a lot of their damage because they do get a damage buff. So I like the Dispel there. You also got the Typhoon Slow. Probably going to have to press Aura here. Oh, we're kind of dying. Damn. Let's see what happens here. Right here, we were just a little too slow. I think we popped our Monk, or DH dispelled him. So it looks like you vivified the rogue. But vivify, especially if you don't have the renewing on them, doesn't really do too much. So you target the rogue, you vivify them. But right there, another situation where if you just... A lot of monk is just making sure you're getting out as much healing so your team just kind of stays active, right? So right here, you top your DH, you dispel him. Instantly targeting the rogue. And then we press Thunder Focus T and heal him. Like Thunder Focus T, you press your aura, you top the rogue. But we used a Vivify Global, which was pretty bad. Then we also used a Global on Renewing, which was pretty bad because we only get the instant heal from the Mastery. And then we die. So I think in this position, I think we were actually really close to winning this game a lot earlier. There were a couple things that could have gone well. There was one situation in particular with the in-cap song/sweep on the Priest with no trinket where he ended up getting the swap off during the Deathmark go. If you landed that CC, you probably won the game there. I also think that obviously there's a few positional errors. You always want to try to make sure you're max range from people when you're healing, so that's harder for them to CC you. Because as we saw, when the Druid disengaged to CC you, if you were further away, if you were max range, then he would have had to root beam you and you could have just aured it. But instead, he bashed you and then forced revival from that. So kind of positional error there. Definitely a huge chance to win the game at one point. A couple chances, but one huge opportunity there. I think even this game right here, you could have outlasted them a little longer and probably killed the Boomkin soon. But we just got into this point. We just got to this point where we cocooned the rogue, which was kind of fine. A little bit preemptive, but not the worst thing. CC's coming back up. Windshear's coming back up. He's got beam soon. So definitely fine to do that. Because you also have revival soon as well. So you have CDs that are coming back up, so it's completely fine with dampening high and CC coming back up and other CDs you have to save your teammates coming back up to kind of throw cocoon out there. But the issue here is we kind of just let our team die, and I think a lot of it comes with experience. You know, you are new to Monk, so more experience, more games, more repetition will help that. Because right here, if you immediately target the rogue and just blast healing with Thunder Focus T enveloping instead of this global here where you dispel him, instead of this global right here where you vivify, you instant vivify with your proc, and then you renewing. If you did different globals here, you probably save your teammate and you actually have revival coming up. And once again, they don't have Mortal Strike. So all this healing that you're doing is a lot more effective and a lot more stabilizing than if you're fighting a different comp right here in this round of solo shuffles. So kind of let our teammate die here. Right here, you target him, you soothing, you Thunder Focus T, you press aura as soon as it's up, you press enveloping, and you top your teammate. You probably kill the Boomkin on the next kidney shot. But kind of let our team die. We also have revival soon, like I said. So we are in a position where if you look at your cooldowns here, right? If you save this rogue, you have revival in 5 seconds. He's probably stable for a little bit because the druid is kidneyed. And you also have your rogue CDs coming back up 20 seconds. So 20 seconds, 15 seconds, you have cloak evasion. You probably win this round if you keep your team alive here for this exact moment. But, you know, unfortunately, we lose this round, okay? Boomkin rogue next round. Only a few more minutes here, Shenny. If you're still here, still listening. Hopefully you are. So only a few minutes left, but I will try to get this round done. I will try to finish this round. So let's see. Hopefully I've been pretty informative. Like I said, any of these reviews, it's going to sound super nitpicky on everything you do. I'm constantly going to be saying, oh, well, you could have done this here. You could have done this. Back up, review it 5 times, say the same thing. But the objective is to give more information and insight and obviously have you improve the best, like give you the most improvement I possibly can and the most information I can. Or give you the most information I can to help you improve the best that you can. So it is going to be a bit nitpicky, but hopefully it helps. So we do here, put down our statue, put down a port. Let's see. So have our statue now. You're renewing. Let's see. Renewing this guy. Our healing go. Okay. We get Hex for free. Even though you have a Boomkin on the team, you have to watch for this because some Druids don't play Decurs, so you definitely have to watch for this. Trusting your team. Nice. Cocoon. So right here, Another game, he did this to you the last round as well. The second round, he did the same thing. The second round, he did the same thing. He just ran up and hexed you. So similar position where you had the opportunity to you know, press something. The last round, you could have incapped him or ropped him. This round, you could have ported, but we tanked the hex. And because we tanked the hex here, they force cocoon and evasion, it looks like. Let's see. So they force evasion and cloak and cocoon. So force 3 CDs here in the opener because he ran up and hexed you, when the best thing you can do, and once again, it just takes more time, takes more awareness, more games. Everything else kind of makes more sense when you play more, where all these things like him running up and hexing you is a lot more apparent because you're not sitting there focused on all the globals you're pressing. So more games, more repetition helps a lot. Could have definitely avoided that hex here, but you know, they get cloak evasion in the opener and cocoon. See what happens here. You get incap DR. The priest is pushing in to try to CC you. Okay. You get sheared, feared. Similar thing here. The priest is so close to you, and a huge thing about monk is just being max range. So we're in a spot here where we can also put down a new port, you know, whenever the time may be. You have cocoon up on this guy. He's full HP. We're not scared at all. So you can put down a new port. You can roll away. But once again, the priest kind of runs up and just fears you. So mistake there. Got to somehow get away from that. It should be really hard. Anytime a priest does this to you on monk, especially if you're on a huge map, you have to punish him by basically just running around and having him waste his time and get into bad positions. So definitely could have avoided that fear there. We start healing. I think he's purging your hots as well. We revival. We Yulon. We finally Thunder Focus T. Amazing. So happy we do that. A ROP here would have been nice on the dome, but it is what it is. Okay. We also renewing the Boomkin here. Still have a renewing on the Rogue. Not the biggest deal. We roll in. What do we do here? We roll in. We get the incap. So he already kidneyed. But it looks like we incap. We incap. Not the worst thing. You know, like I said, gonna be nitpicky as much as I can. That's just how it's going to be. He already kidneyed him, so we didn't have to incap him. Could have definitely just got the sweep without incapping there and kind of macing DRs, but we get the sweep. Cap, get the triple sweep. This, though, was huge. Awareness to do this is always going to be huge on Monk. It's always detrimental to the game whenever you get triple swept by somebody. So this... definitely good that you saw this opportunity. I think the incap was a waste because you also directly overlapped it with a stun. But you got kidneyed. And the awareness here to roll in and get the triple sweep is great. So we get the triple sweep here. I think you try to cast Psalm, but then he blinds. Or no, you have to start healing, so... The biggest thing about Monk, one of the best things I can say from watching your game so far before we wrap it all up soon is you don't have to always get the Song of Cheesy. And this goes out to every Monk that is possibly watching or anyone that wants to play Monk. Everyone has this idea in their head that they need to run in every game and incap into sweep into Song. You don't have to do that. Getting one of them is perfectly fine. Getting two of them is perfectly fine. You don't have to get the triple wombo combo to win the game. Because whenever you try to focus really hard on that, all you're doing is letting your team fall behind. So right here, because we go in for the incap, and because we go in for the sweep, that's 2 globals now when it should have been 1 that we use for CCing. And then we also try to cast here where we're still dying because we're not using our globals and we're not using the time that we have to start healing. So this is really rough. On top of the fact that, you know, like Captain Noobzor, great name, like he pointed out right here, if you actually do cast the Song here, all you do is get rid of the dots from your Rogue and your Boomkin. So if you did in fact get the Song here, you would have just possibly wiped the dots from the enemy here. So pretty rough to do, pretty rough to always try to get the Song, but you know, huge emphasis on you don't always have to get the Song. You don't always have to get the triple wombo combo. It makes you feel like you won the game. Actually true, but you don't have to do that because you might lose because of it. You know that actually? Yeah. So Song of Chi-Ji and Incap wipe dots. I think running Song is fine because you still have a good opportunity. Actually, you're with a Boomkin and a Rogue. You probably don't need to play Song because it just DRs clones. So you can drop Song and play something else. But even if you do have Song, there are some opportunities where you can press it. It's just kind of risky depending on... It just can be really risky in this situation. But yeah. So let's see what happens here. We have to heal the Rogue because of this. We also kind of waste our aura after we already casted. Thankfully, we didn't get sheared. We don't have renewing on this guy. And we get Incap now. We don't have Trinket. Oh, did we die here? So I think we... What did we do here? So we try to get the Vivify. Same thing. Once again, super nitpicky. We're in this situation here because we took all this time to get the CC instead of healing. And we let our renewing mist fall, and we let our enveloping fall on the Rogue. We also wasted our aura. So right here, start casting Song right here. What we should do is just Soothing Mist, press aura, and we spam heal our teammate to full. But we kind of use it late. And then we kind of juke with it, and then we run away, and we still don't put up our renewing mist here. I think we do. Now we try to ROP. So we try to ROP the priest cast when what we should be focusing on right here is just healing our teammates. So should be focusing on getting as much healing as we can, but we kind of waste the ROP here to try to CC the priest. We also target the shaman. I think you realize it here that your rogue's dying, so you target the shaman, swap back to your rogue, get incapped. And still, like I said, situations here. If you don't have renewing mist on your teammate and you press vivify, it's not going to heal as much as just pressing enveloping, because you still get the mastery. You get the healing, the instant healing from your mastery from pressing either of them. So it's much better to just press your enveloping here. But instead, we try to vivify. Doesn't have renewing mist up, so it doesn't heal for the extra amount. Because if you didn't know, vivify heals for an extra amount when you have renewing mist on your target. On any targets that have renewing mist, your vivify heals them extra. It gives them a separate heal. So we kind of let our teammate die. But all of that stems from that leg sweep play. All of that stems from this play right here, where we run in. We waste the global in capping him when he's already stunned, and then we leg sweep. So we don't have a renewing mist on our rogue for the last... When was the last time you had renewing on this guy? So the last time we had renewing on our rogue was 406. So almost, what, 25-30 seconds before the game ended. So about 35 seconds, when the game ended, 35 seconds later, we still didn't have a renewing mist on the monk, or on the rogue, which is huge healing that we're missing. So definitely a few mistakes here that kind of added up to a big loss. A lot of people don't understand that all these little things throughout the game add up to why you lost. People always think like, oh, you know, I watched Sea-Doo play, or I watched Pika play, and they lost because they didn't press step kick there. And it's like, yeah, sure, maybe they lost, you're watching it, and they lost because of a step kick that they could have landed. But there's normally plenty of things that add up leading up to that for players that are lower rated. At higher rating, it's a lot less common for, you know, a bunch of mistakes to add up to one thing. There's always normally a couple things that kind of go wrong for people when they lose games at the highest rating. But when you're at this point, when you're lower rated and you're trying to play new class or whatever, all these things add up, which is something that I try to emphasize to a lot of people. People always think, oh, you're losing because you didn't press your shield there when you could have. And it's like, yeah, okay, maybe you think I lost because of that, or maybe I could have raptured like a global faster. But everything else I'm doing is correct. And all these people, all the people watching that try to say those things, they don't understand that if you have 80 globals to press in a game, people at lower rating are most likely pressing like 60%, 65 to 70 of those 80 globals are probably wrong. They're probably wrong. So all these things add up. So like this game, you're doing pretty solid things this game. I still think there are a lot of things you could be doing better. And there's little things with you know, which healing, which hot you decide to press, whether or not you press your port and reposition your port, because you still had your port in the same spot for every single round so far. This is the third round of the VOD. You still had your port in the same spot every time. You didn't move it. And that, if you moved your port, it allows you to kind of make plays with positioning, whether you're avoiding CC or lining a cast, or, you know, you port to someone to get closer to them to end cap. All those things add up, right? So a lot of these globals, they all get to this point. Like I said, like once again, to just reiterate what I've been saying about things adding up. This position here, if you played the game and focused a bit more on healing the way you did a little earlier in this round, starting right here, you probably win this round. But because we try to go for the song, because we don't have our renewing on him, because we don't aura till kind of late, because we don't focus on burst healing our rogue to full, we kind of lose out on, we kind of fall behind on healing here, and then we get into a point where we get CC chained and lose the game, right? So all these things add up. All these things add up. But yeah, that's gonna be it. So that was a little over an hour. Fuck it. I don't really care if I don't care if I give an extra 10 minutes or so on review, but yeah, that's pretty much it. So hopefully that was somewhat informative for you. I really hope I helped a lot with just giving more information, but yeah, that was it.